Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. Today we will be continuing to read Animorphs number 10, The Android by K.A. Applegate. And as always, this video is not intended for kids. This video is instead intended for adults who are discovering or rediscovering the joy that is Animorphs. And yes, it has been a little bit since I've done an episode Jash Reads, just because for like 1 or 2 weeks I was feeling a little under the weather, but I still was pushing through and doing things as I normally would. And then last week it was like my body was like, nope, Jash, nope, you have to lie down, you have to relax. So yeah, I hardly got anything done last week. And for someone who really likes to keep themselves busy, it was a little bit painful. And long story short, now I sort of have some irritated carpal tunnel syndrome, which was definitely not definitely not irritated yesterday when I had to clean the bird cages. Luckily, Rev Resner does help, so I don't stress myself out as much, but still my hands got irritated. The right more so than my left. Okay, let's read a book that has a nice, happy story where the heroes win easily because the Animorphs kick butt. Okay. The wire here for the headphone just likes to slip every now and again, and I'm trying to make sure it does not slip to the ground. So, let's get started. Oh, before I do, this is an intense chapter, so I got my backup inhaler. Fun thing, my body can't even breathe correctly. Yay! Script! 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 The alarm was howling, and then a far worse sound. Chuck. The human controllers had cocked their rifles, chambering around. If they fired, we'd be blown apart before we could twitch. A human controller stepped out in front. She was a nice-looking, middle-aged woman wearing normal street clothes. She had bleached blonde hair. She could have been someone's grandmother. So, they handle like bandits, she said. Her face was twitching with tension, but she tried to sound calm. You've done me a big favor. When I turn you over to Vischer 3, he'll promote me 2 grades. Maybe 3. Or he may decide to destroy you for letting us get this far. Axe said coolly. Surrender. You can't escape, the woman snapped. I'd rather take you alive, but the Vischer would still be happy to have your corpses. We stared at her, and we stared at the muzzles of the 20 automatic rifles that were leveled at us. I held up my hand. Between my thick, brute fingers, I held the Pemalite crystal. The woman turned as pale as her hair. Give me that. I shook my big gorilla head. Lower those guns, the woman snapped. What? Some guy behind her yelled. We have them! We have them cold! The woman's jaw twitched again, but she stayed in control. What do you think a bullet would do to that crystal? But the odds that a bullet would hit the crystal, it's not going to happen. The woman smiled grimly. That crystal is worth more than the mother ship and everything in it, she said. Then she started yelling. You want to shoot? Go ahead, fool. If you hit the crystal, you can explain it to Visher 3. She got a grip on herself while the guy who had spoken out decided he was not interested in explaining anything to Visher 3. All human controllers back. Weapons on safety. The woman snapped. The rifles faltered, then lowered toward the ground. But I knew better than to breathe a sigh of relief. See, I knew what was coming next. The woman looked right at me and smiled. Hork-Bajir, forward. The Andalite who'd given us our powers had told us that the Hork-Bajir had once been a gentle, decent race before they were all enslaved by the Yeerks. All Hork-Bajir were controllers now. But it was hard to believe the Hork-Bajir had ever been the sweethearts of the galaxy. They were death on 2 legs, 7 feet tall, 8 if you counted the forward raked blades that protruded from the top of their snake heads. They had blades at their elbows, blades at their wrists, blades at their knees. They had huge claw feet like Tyrannosaurus and a short, thick tail that ended in a cruel looking spikes. They were walking razor blades, all sharp edges and lightning speed. I've fought Hork-Bajir before, and I can count. 24 Hork-Bajir was at least a dozen more than we had any hope of defeating. Then, behind the Hork-Bajir, beyond the retreating human controllers, outside the building, staring horror-stricken through the glass, I saw Eric. Eric, who could do nothing at all to help us, who was helpless to do anything but witness our slaughter. I felt like throwing up. The fear was all over me. The fear was surging through me, washing over me, drowning me from inside and out. We were going to lose. We were going to die. And life, any kind of life almost, is so much better than being dead. Attack, the woman said. Her voice was nearly a whisper. Okay, and preparing myself for the fight scene. Hang on a moment. Okay. Okay, back to the story. The Hork-Bajir leaped forward, a wall of slashing, whirling blades, right in front of me. Sure! A huge hork-bajir slashed and a bright red line cut across my black leather chest. I swung my fist and hit the hork-bajir hard enough to fold him in two. But another leaped over him and came at me. I blocked his arm, but he kicked at me with his clawed foot. I fell back. I looked down and saw a hole in my stomach. A hole! I could see the gorilla's insides! My insides! My insides! Ah! I screamed in thought speak as the gorilla bellowed in agony. The hork-bajir leaped on top of me. I swung again and knocked his legs out from under him. He toppled down, but landed beside me. My left hand went to his throat and I squeezed. I squeezed with all the strength I had. The hork-bajir slashed at me again and opened a gash in my hairy arm. But I kept my grip tight. I screamed as the hork-bajir twitched and scrabbled wildly and began to jerk uncontrollably. The battle raged all around me. Screams, cries, bellows of animal rage, the garbled roars of the hork-bajir, even the guttural roar of the human controllers who watched and cheered the hork-bajir on. I saw Jake leap through the air and close his jaws around a hork-bajir's face. I saw Rachel swing her paw and open up a hork-bajir like someone cleaning a fish. I saw Cassie dodging swiftly, biting, backing away, lunging to bite again. Red foam flying from her muzzle. An axe striking again with the deadly speed and perfect accuracy of his ant-like tail. But we were losing it. It would be over in a few seconds. We were losing. Oh God! Someone screamed. Maybe it was me. I don't know. Help! Help! Get him off me! Look out! No! No! It was all one combined thought, speech, scream, and still the alarm howled and screeched. I felt my grip weaken on the throat of the hork-bajir, but it didn't matter anymore. It was safe to let him go. My vision was red, and fading. I felt a sharp stab as another hork-bajir sunk a blade into my gorilla heart. None of it mattered, though. It was all coming to an end. All coming to an end. Through a red mist, I saw a face on the other side of the glass. Eric, somehow, in the battle, I had ended up not far from the wall of windows. Eric was just a few feet away, just on the other side of the glass. I felt something hard in my palm. The crystal. I crawled. A vicious hork-bajir kick, and I went sprawling right against the glass. Oh, no, I said. I could see the damage the kick had done. I was dead. I could feel my brain shutting down. Human controllers were closing in around me, hammering me with the butts of their rifles. With my last ounce of strength, I rammed my fist through the glass. I felt strong fingers pry open my hand. I felt the fingers lift out the crystal. And then, later, much later, someone slapped my face. Morph back, Marco! Morph back! Do it! And that's a lovely chapter. Just hang on a moment. Yeah. That was an intense chapter there. Sorry, I actually started having tears in my eyes, so I had to wipe that off. Should have actually removed my glasses before filming. I don't really like to cry with my glasses on. Like, if I'm crying for real in real life, I tend to like to get my glasses off because the tears stain my glasses, which is actually hilarious to anyone who knows me because I hardly clean my glasses. So, yay! In the background, the birds are causing a ruckus. I don't know if you can hear them or not. Maybe they're worried about mommy. But anyways, back to this chapter. This is definitely one of those chapters where it's like, wait, these books were aimed for kids. And then it's probably, if this is the first video of my Animorphs dramatic reading you're watching, you're probably like, wait, this chapter is in a kid's book, that young adult book that has like just, a boy morphing into a spider. Like, it gets dark. It's definitely gets dark. I mean, Marco, like, before the fight, is like, oh shit, I'm not trusting this woman when she says, hey, yeah, human controllers don't, fire, because he knows, like, oh shit, that means the Hork-Bajir are coming. And he's battle hardened already. And, he's like, yeah, I know how much damage a Hork-Bajir can cause. And those are way too many. Like, we're going to die. And instead of giving up, he fights. He knows he is probably going to lose this fight, that this is probably the fight where he's going to die, but he continues anyway. And just the descriptions are definitely terrifying. I don't know how I could read this book like a million times when I was a kid and not suddenly put down and go, yeah, this is too much for me. I mean, you should get the copy of the book yourself so you can actually read the descriptions at your own pace. You don't have to worry about me like speeding through them to make them dramatic. You can stop and just glance at the description. It's like, oh hey, this Hork-Bajir, I can see through myself. There's a hole in myself. Like, wow, this is a book for young adults. And there's been so many books on like that have been banned for really stupid reasons, and it's like, kids can young adults can handle stuff, and yeah, but it's like no one like decided to ban this series, or at least try to, because the description of, one of our heroes, folks, having a hole in him. God. It's like, yeah, this one doesn't get banned, does it? Yeah, that's fudge. But anyways, the last thing I want to talk about this chapter is, while right before the fight, Marco is looking at the Hork-Bajir, looking at everything that's going to go down, and he sees Eric, and it's like, he knows Eric can't help. That Eric wants to help, but he can't, that he's helpless. So yeah, it's really sad. Like, just, oh no, Eric can't help us. And then luckily by the end of the chapter, Marco, just because he happened to land by the glass and was able to punch through the glass, he was able to save the day. Like, just by luck, just by chance. I mean, it's again, that's one thing I love about Animorphs, is that all the tensions of the battle feel real, because they don't get out of it easy. Like, Marco survived this battle, but it was far from easy. He got a hole torn through him. He thought it's all the stakes really feel real. So let's see, a question for today's video. Let's see. Good question. Okay, if you were in Marco's situation where you were fighting, you thought you were going to lose this fight. Actually, no, hang on. This is why I do so much better with the script, because I sound really intelligent with the script because I'm able to write and edit and God. But anyways, okay, the question for today's video is, if you were in Marco's situation where, you're in your battle morph, whatever it is, and you had a hole through you, like, you could see your guts. You're like, hey, I can see deep inside of me now. Not funny. Would you continue fighting, or would you just give up? Would you give up because it was too painful? Would you get up because the situation felt totally helpless? Or would you also try to continue to fight and do as much damage before you passed away? Comment down below. Let me know. Let's start a nice nerdy conversation. And remember, you can, discuss anything else in this chapter you want to. The good, the bad, the ugly, just no major spoilers. I am hoping against hope people discover Animorphs via these videos. And there are some really major twists and turns. Like, you remember near the very beginning of the series with Elfangor crashing down and giving the Animorphs their powers and then dying shortly afterwards? It gets more horrific with some twists and turns, because holy shit. This is like, hey, this is a traumatizing event. Let's make it worse. So, there's some twists and turns that sometimes make you reflect on past things in the series, and you should really go into the series not really being aware what those twists are or when they will happen. But yeah, there's something to look forward to. I can't feel anymore because of this series. It harmed me. But anyways, please like this video if, you think Marco should just have, after this battle, Marco should just go to have like a spa day, just relax. Like, also like this video if you think the Animorphs go through so much horrific shit in this series that's like, maybe they should just get a beer. I mean, Marco nearly died, like his hole ripped right through him. Like, just give him a beer. Like, why would that traumatize? Why would like having a beer or saying the F word really traumatize kids as much as their hero getting ripped apart? Also, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, because I will not only be reading all of Animorphs number 10, The Android by K.A. Applegate, but I will be reading the entire Animorphs series. And if you watch, my voice seems to want to leave now. And if you watch this video and you're like, hey, I want my very own copy of Animorphs number 10, The Android by K. Applegate, everywhere I post this video, I will be including a link to where you can buy the book, because you really should. Especially this chapter where, to make things more dramatic, I read through quickly. Maybe you want to let some things sink in more. And there is a professionally done audiobook of Animorphs number 10, which you should get just to support Animorphs and let, Scholastic know that people are actually still interested in this series. And I think next month is going to be the month where the first graphic novel of this series, will be released. It will be a graphic novel adaptation of Animorphs #1, The Invasion. So definitely pre-order it if you want to. Please. And until next video, which will hopefully be much sooner than, a week. So, goodbye.